Hey, what's going on, guys? Brian from Zombie Guitar here. It's been a little while since I've uploaded a new YouTube video, and the reason for that is because I've been doing a lot of work and a lot of redesigning of what I am now calling the Lead Guitar Improv Vault. It was called the Lead Guitar Improv Course before, but it has grown so much in size and now has 12 different courses in there and several pages. I just added a blues theory course to it. Lots and lots of stuff to that. So that's what I've been working on for the last month. If that's something you're interested in or something you want to check out, I posted a link to that below. With that said, let's get on to this lesson. So this lesson here is basically kind of like Iron Maiden inspired, or some of those old metal bands that have a lot of those melodic lead lines, and something that they do is really interesting. So I'm always talking about how chord tones are the best sounding notes within the scale and all that stuff, but really you can do some really cool melodic stuff just by knowing your root, third, and fifth of just the first chord. Okay, so this was in the key of A minor, therefore the whole entire scale that I used over the whole progression was the A minor scale. But just forgetting about chord tones of all the rest of the chords, you can just kind of focus on just that A minor chord. So if you know where the root of the A minor chord, the third of the A minor chord, and the fifth of the A minor chord is, you can essentially have just different starting points on the fretboard and then just kind of noodle around in the scale, right? So you're only really focusing on chord tones of just one chord, which is the first chord. Okay, so let me zoom into the fretboard and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so what you see here on the fretboard is the A minor scale, the A natural minor scale, spanned all up and down the fretboard. All right, so this lesson assumes that you are already comfortable, soloing within a key in the various different patterns. Okay, if you're not, I'll post links to some relevant lessons below. But let's just assume that you are, somewhat fluent in playing in different areas of the fretboard within a key. Okay, so basically all that I was doing was just starting the first melodic lead line, was just starting on the root note, which was A. Okay, so your scale root is A, your first chord was an A minor chord. I was just doing power chords for the rhythm, but it's the key of A minor. Okay, so you're starting on the note A. Okay, so you have a note A here, 7th fret of the D string, and that's your starting point. All right, so you have this this little home box area right here is where I was starting out at. I call this the home box because that's your pentatonic position 1 area right there. Okay, so as long as you have your starting point, start there and then just kind of noodle around within the scale pattern. Okay, so that's your starting point, and I'm just using that scale root as my starting point, and then I kind of just go off from there and just play around with the scale, noodle around the scale using my ear to hear what sounds good, not necessarily focusing on chord tones of the other chords. Okay, so then the next thing, then I moved up to the third. All right, so you can always locate your third on if you have your scale root on the A string, so you can find your note A here on the 12th fret of the A string, you can always find a third of that note on the D string, but then 2 frets lower. All right, so if here's your note A, here's your third right here. Okay, so that was my second starting point, this note right here. It's actually the note C, but you don't really need to know that necessarily. You just need to know how to locate a third relative to your root note. Okay, so if this is my root note, this is my minor third. Alright, so then I just started there, and then I just continued noodling around in the scale, not necessarily focusing on chord tones. Okay, so that was my second starting point, alright? And then the third one, I then moved up to the fifth. Alright, so I started on the root, I then moved to the third, and then I moved to the fifth. Alright, so you can always find your fifth in relation to your root note. You can do so a couple ways. You know your root note is A, so you have a note A here on the 12th fret of the A string. You can always find your fifth on the D string and then 2 frets higher. Okay, so here's your fifth here. Okay, so basically you're just finding your thirds and fifths in relation to your root note. Okay, so then I started here, and I was just playing around in whatever scale pattern happened to be around this area. Okay, so so I started on the root, then I started on the third, then I went to the fifth. Alright, see how that's working? You're just basically getting your starting points and then just kind of taking it from there, okay? Just kind of improvising or writing some short little lead lines, just using your scale as the other notes to use, alright? Alright, and then I'm back at the root again, only an octave higher. So you have your root, which is, right here, but it's an octave higher. It's on the 14th fret of the G string, so that's your note A again. Alright, and then if I wanted to keep going, I could, continue with the same pattern, starting on the third, okay, and then going to the fifth. Alright, there's roots, thirds, and fifths all over the place. You just want to know how to find your thirds and fifths in relation to your root note, okay, your scale root note. So that was pretty much the whole idea of this lesson, all right? Okay, so, I just wanted to make this lesson to show you guys, because I was listening to, I don't know if you guys are fans of the band In Flames. I forget what country they're from, but I think it's like Sweden or something, but really cool metal band, and they just have these really super awesome like melodic lead lines, and they'll be playing a lead line and over a chord progression, and then the lead line will just kind of move up, and it'll sound like a completely new line altogether, but it just flows together so well, because really they're just kind of playing in the next, instead of playing in like the root realm, they're playing in like the third realm, the third above realm. And then they move it up a little bit more, and then they're in like the fifth above realm, so it just sounds super melodic when you do stuff like this. Iron Maiden does it. Lots of those cool melodic bands do that, or melodic metal bands. So, that was inspired by that kind of stuff. So, short lesson. Any questions, comments, feel free to ask, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.